Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're gonna do a Q&A talking about sobriety, all the ins and outs of it, and I am actually genuinely so excited to do this video. I feel very cozy today. It is finally feeling like fall. I have my tea. We're gonna hang out. We're just gonna chat. You guys had some juicy questions, and I feel really excited to finally be open about my sobriety. I made that video and you guys, the response really hit me in the most beautiful way. You guys were giving me your sobriety dates. You were telling me that you had a friend that was struggling with sobriety. You were telling me your deep, intimate details of just like different parts of your lives. It felt so connective and supportive. And I loved that. I personally did not know how different I would feel telling my story. Like, I feel like a different woman. I feel not just like a big weight has been lifted, but just I'm in a new lane. Like, I feel like I've accepted myself even more, and you guys are a part of that story. So thank you so much. Like, I actually feel more chill. Let's go into the questions and see what we got going. You guys are already like, I just asked you and there are already so many. I have so many stories. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm just like, where do we start? Where do we start? Do you guys want to know? Like, there are so many funny stories with sobriety and with like even the downfall and like the dark days and like the lead up to my personal rock bottom. Like, I did so many dumb things that now I can look back and laugh, but like, yo, we might need a longer video for those kind of stories. I Heart Rio Adventures says, I'm a 26-year-old female and I love alcohol for special occasions, but I don't overuse. Is that still a bad thing? No. I want to clear this one up because a lot of people can go through this phase where if they get sober, everything that's outside of sobriety is terrible and like it's so bad. And I just want to say from my mouth to your ears that I don't shame or think that people that drink are less than me. I feel like we're all on our own unique path, and part of being human is uncovering what works for you and what doesn't, and then actually honoring that. So I'm not here to judge you. Sad Zombie says, whenever you felt the temptation to drink, what would you do to not do it? I don't want to die. So I would just remind myself how close to the line I got. Again, I'm really grateful that I have James to talk to. Like, if I've ever been like, I'm struggling with this and like, I hate being in this environment, get me out of here. And like, he's always been that guy for me, like at any occasion, like he even did this at my friend's wedding, like literally, and it's so slick. He saw that they were passing out champagne, and without making like the big, huge announcement, which is like for someone sober, it can be really embarrassing. It feels like someone breaks out a megaphone and is like, give Martinelli's to the woman in the corner because she has a problem, you know, and it just feels like, oh shoot, me. But he slickly like just went in the kitchen and like got a separate flute of like a sparkling cider for me and just like passed it to me before any tray even came by me. That has been a big help for me. So I kind of avoid temptation, I guess is what I'm saying. I have a partner that helps me to avoid temptation. I'm at a place now where I don't feel tempted because again, I want to live and I know that it's something that's so all-consuming. My brain is not wired in a way that it can handle alcohol or substance. People also wanted to know, was I into drugs? No, alcohol was my thing. I was always so afraid of getting caught doing drugs that I never really tried anything. I saw a question in here. Someone was like, have you ever smoked weed? Yes, not for me though. Oh my gosh, absolutely not for me. I hated it, had a panic attack, vowed to never do it again. I literally wrote in a journal, like I read it the next day, and I was writing down, help me, help me, help me. Like, I did not feel in my body at all. It was the worst experience of my life. Brittany Tatiana, love your name. She says, alcohol of choice at the time. I was a whiskey drinker. I will tell you, and this is being in like this influence sphere of just how societally accepted alcohol is. I will tell you that it was shortly after my big relapse, which was like 5 years in, where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't think I will ever beat this. I fell off the wagon and I felt like I lost myself. I lost all of my progress. Like, I was just destroyed over it. It was a very brief period. It was not a long relapse. I mentioned that before, but it was pretty devastating to me. I felt like none of my progress, none of my work mattered because I just washed it all down the drain. And I want to tell anyone out there that is struggling with relapse that feels like, oh, I lost all my days. That hard work still exists in you. Like, keep moving forward. Try not to get wrapped into the dates and like that you lost it and that you'll never be able to do it, because you totally can. But like the funny part of the story that's funny now, but not so much then, was I was getting a lot of PR at the time because, like I said, I was already very established. I was making videos 5 days a week, and my favorite whiskey arrived to my home from a brand. And like, it's not their fault. They didn't know that I had struggled with drinking, but it's just such a common gift. So like, I had a beautiful bottle of whiskey, my drink of choice, with my name engraved on it right after a relapse. And I remember sitting there with this bottle being like, well, shoot. I mean, it has my name on it. And I didn't. I veered away. I think I actually got sent a joint at one time because marijuana is legal in California, and that's when CBD was in everything. And so like, I got sent a joint in a PR package where it was like CBD infused primer. And I'm like, look, I could smoke this. I hate marijuana, but like it was just funny. I was like, I'm getting drugs, I'm getting booze in the mail, everyone's sending me champagne. Like, and there's this part of being in that addict mindset where you're like, no one would know. Like, no one would know. And I have to shut that voice down really quick because let me tell you, everyone will know. John Foley Beauty said, what was the moment where you thought, for real, I can do this? And not, I have to do this. I got sober and I was like, yay, I'm sober, I'm alive, but my life sucks still. And like, it's not like all my problems were solved overnight. There were still a lot of things that I had to sort through and work through, a lot of therapy, a lot of healing. I kind of thought that forever I would just be this person that would see other people drinking and I would silently resent them. And so it'd be like, well, must be nice, but it's not for me. Must be nice. Like, I remember that was really fun. I don't know why I'm plagued with this curse, like, must be nice. And there was something that happened in 2020 when James and I split up and we were going through all the crazy stuff with litigation and all of that, where I did have a very supernatural experience. And I don't even know why or how or what, but I went from viewing people even on TV drinking and thinking in my head, like, gosh, I'm so weird, and like, that must be nice. Like, I always would think that, even though I knew I couldn't drink, I knew it was life or death, like, I knew that, but I'd still be like, oh, it's kind of like not fair. To something switched in me where I was like really proud of myself and kind of, I don't want to say this from like this totally prideful, like ego weird place. I say this for anybody struggling because I hope you can get to this point too, where I'm like, wow, that looks like a setback. Like, that looks like a distraction. That looks like a disadvantage. And I started seeing alcohol differently because there are really no redemptive qualities about alcohol. It's poisoning your system. It's fun. And if it's a part of your journey, again, no judgment. Like, I had to go through what I went through. And it doesn't mean that everybody's going to go through what I went through. Like, people can drink responsibly and have fun with it. But I started becoming really proud of the fact that I had been through that and didn't. And that felt really, really good. I was like, man, this is amazing. Like, how awesome. And as I get older, I'm not going to have to sit with a doctor and have them be like, hey, you need to cut back on your wine intake or whatever. Like, it started to feel like I'm running at a good pace here and this feels really good. And my health is in the best place ever. And like, this is starting to feel really cool. And something just changed. I don't have a reason for it. I had been praying really intensely about it. I was waiting for the day that it would lift, and it did. So I don't feel like, I just don't want it ever again, like never. Like, I just don't desire it, crave it, want it, envy it. Like, it's just out of my system, like removed. Jewel Bean 333 says, what advice do you have for anyone at the beginning of their journey towards sobriety? I would say don't get arrogant thinking that you can go and do all of the same things that you did before. That is a nightmare scenario. If you are new to sobriety, you definitely should not be going to the old hangouts, the bars, the clubs. Be very careful when you go to events to have someone with you, maybe have a sober buddy, have someone with you that you can spend time with at the event, because it can be really overwhelming. I'm talking like going to a wedding, going to something with family where you're like obligated to go. Make sure you plan for those events. Find drinks that are non-alcoholic that you enjoy. Find a new hobby. Make your body just like, oh, my body is my temple. Like, I'm going to really pay attention and pour into things that can elevate my mood and how I feel without substance. Like, that can be a great thing to focus on when you're new in sobriety. Do not shy away from help. If therapy is an avenue you want to explore, explore it. And just like journaling and self-care go a long way. If you're new in your journey, just start doing everything you can different, but do it in a way where you're like, is this pulling me closer toward my new goal of staying sober? Like, be honest with yourself. Because if it's not, if it's going to be temptation, if it's going to be a bad time, don't go. And you might have to switch up some friendships. Like, that's also something to look at. What was the biggest change you noticed when you quit drinking? I felt so much better. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know how much I was harming myself. Like, even with endometriosis, like, holy crap. I quit drinking and it took a little bit of time. It took maybe a year, maybe two. But my horrific monthly pain where I felt like, which also is part of why I was like glug, 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 like I try to put the pain out with a bottle of wine, but it felt like someone was clawing my guts out. You know, I'd wind up in the hospital from time to time with so much pain on my period. And when I quit drinking, and I'm not saying that this is the cure for endometriosis, it's definitely not, but I think the inflammation in my body changed so much, so dramatically, and I started doing other things that were healthier, that a lot of my monthly symptoms really dulled down. So that was really amazing. Do you think you'll ever be okay just having a casual alcoholic beverage? This is Jack XE. No. For me, it is off limits. It is nothing to do with willpower. It is just not how, it's an allergy. Like, let's just put it like that. I'm allergic to alcohol. I cannot have a sip, not have a drink, none. Misery Loves Company. It says, when did you start drinking and when did you first realize you had a problem with alcohol? Now, I never partied in high school. I was such a good girl, never did any of that. It wasn't until I was living on my own. I moved out at 18. I started experimenting a little bit with alcohol, but nothing major. I used to smoke cigarettes. So those two kind of went hand in hand a little bit. I thought I was so cool. And it slowly progressed from there. Like, once I turned 21 and was able to order at a restaurant and go out, things kind of escalated a bit, but I never saw this coming. Like, I didn't want this for myself. Like, I was like, I will never have a problem with drinking because, ew, those people can't handle themselves. And it's just a lack of control. And like, I can't believe it, like why people would choose that life. And I used to have that attitude, and I don't obviously anymore because I've really been put through it and I understand it more deeply that this is a disease and yes, mysterious, but there are people on this planet that cannot do or partake in certain things because they are unable to stop. I realized that I had a problem, like a problem. Like, I remember partying had gone too far and I woke up in the morning and I was starting to have like tremors. I was starting to be like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I can actually function without having a drink. Like, it wasn't just like the hair of the dog, like take a swig of something, you know, after a wild night of partying and then rest on the couch. It was like, I think I'm going to pass out or have a seizure or like something's going on really bad. Like, I have to have this in my system. And I remember looking in the mirror and being like, it's happening. Kind of like I was telling myself, like, I hope you know this is happening. Like, this is taking you. And like, get off the ride. But I wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough. I was too scared. I was too ashamed. I didn't want to speak up and ask for help. I didn't know where I could go for help. And so many things in my life were falling apart and I didn't want to burden anyone. And like, other people had crap in their life. And like, so it was kind of this silent thing. But I do remember realizing this is not going well and you have a problem. And I had to kind of dance with that for a while before everything really went down and I actually went and got help. You guys, I feel like I've been talking for a while. This is a new topic for me and a new topic for you to hear me talking about. If you want more of these in the future, I'm happy to do them. I do think there will come a day when I do have a podcast and James can sit with me. I'm already kind of working this out in my mind. I want his story to be shared because it's so powerful. And I like this topic. I think there are a lot of us out there. And I don't know, I kind of felt when I brought this to my channel that I did not think there would be that many people in the comment section. I was really just under the impression that this was not affecting as many people as it is. And I mean, I know there are statistics and numbers that say otherwise, but I don't know. I kind of felt like in the beauty space that I wouldn't have that many people in my audience that were like, hey, I'm on a similar path and you're not alone. And that was really, really cool to see. So I definitely don't want to talk about this all the time because this is a beauty channel, but as it feels right, I'll bring this topic up again. And, you guys ask awesome questions and it feels really, really refreshing to be open about this. And thank you for taking the time to watch this video and have a listen, whether you are sober curious or not at all. It's all good. I'm sending you so much love. And if you like the video, like it, share it, leave me those comments. Go have a good one. And I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah.